Hey, welcome back to Beyond You podcast. I'm Samantha, the therapist, best friend, to be able to just help you through this healing journey that you're on. And so I wanted to be able to really get into because I know that a lot of you have been dealing with people who keep saying I'm sorry, but not following through with it. This episode is going to be a little bit short today, but I still wanted to hit deep. And I wanted to be able to reach other women. So please make sure to like, subscribe, so I know that you really enjoy this episode and be able to share with more women on this journey. Welcome to the Beyond You podcast, where we have real conversations about healing, trusting yourself again, and building the kind of relationships that actually feel good. I'm Samantha, and if you've ever felt like you're just going through the motions, like you're doing all the right things but still feeling disconnected, you're in the right place. Because here we go beyond the surface, beyond the hurt, beyond the patterns that keep you stuck. So take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let's get into it. A lot of times we hear people keep talking about they're sorry, they're having tears, they're saying it multiple times. Maybe they even seemed to mean it. And part of you, maybe a big part, wanted to believe them, right? You wanted the apology to be enough. You wanted those two words to somehow erase the hurt that you're experiencing, that everything's going to be okay again. But it didn't. The apology instead, it didn't heal anything. It just felt hollow, or sometimes even worse, it felt like the apology was more about them than it was about you, at all. So a lot of times people use forgiveness as a tool to kind of keep doing the same thing over and over. And because you got the apology you asked for, but somehow you feel more alone than you did before, that happens. So good job of coming right now if you ever see the apology that made you feel worse, because I need you to know that you were not crazy when this happens and you're not ungrateful. You're just learning that words without change are just noise. Let's talk about what to do when I'm sorry isn't enough. So let's talk about on why this feels just relentless when someone does that. Because here's what no one tells about apologies. Not all of them are meant to heal you, right? Some are just really for them. And let me say that again, because some, it's really important. Some apologies aren't about making things right with you. They're about making themselves feel better about what they did. You can tell the difference by how you feel after. A real apology, if it might hurt because you're processing the pain, but underneath there's relief, there's validation. There's a sense that they finally see what they did and they're taking responsibility. A hollow apology, though, it leaves you feeling more confused, more alone, more angry than you have before, because somehow in your body, you know that this apology is performative and they didn't mean them, or they meant them in the moment, but there's nothing that's actually going to change. And here's the part that hurts the most. You feel guilty for not accepting it. You feel like you're being difficult or unforgiving or holding a grudge. They apologize, right? But what more would you want? And comment and let me know if you have felt this way, or just like if you agree with what I'm saying, because this is where many of us get stuck. We accept hollow apologies because we've been taught that forgiveness means letting go immediately. But understand that's not how healing works. Here's what you need to understand. An apology without changed behavior is just manipulation. It's a way to get you to stop being upset without them having to actually do the work of change. I'm sorry this hurt you, followed by doing the same thing again next week. Understand that's not an apology. This is a pattern. I'm sorry, I don't know what I was thinking, followed by getting defensive when you try to explain how it affected you. That is not accountability. That's damage control. And I'm sorry it won't happen again, followed by making you responsible for moving on quickly. That is not remorse. That is entitlement. Real apologies come with changed behavior, period. It comes with changed actions. So, okay, so you got the apology and it didn't fix anything. Now what? Let me walk you through what you actually need to do, not what you're supposed to do, but what you actually need to help you heal. One, I need you to let your feelings be as messy as they are. First, stop trying to feel one clean emotion. You don't need to choose between anger and sadness. You don't need to get over it on anyone's timeline. You're going to swing between rage and grief and numbness all on the same day. That's not you being dramatic or like you're too sensitive. It's your heart trying to process the betrayal, because this happens in just a quiet space when you take deep breaths and say out loud, this feeling deserves space. Not I need to get over this, not I shouldn't still be upset. Just this feeling deserves space. And your anger, it deserves space. It deserves your confusion, that deserves space. Like all your feelings deserve this space. Because a real test of whether an apology is genuine is what do they do after they say sorry? Do they get defensive when you're still processing? That tells you everything. Do they expect you to move on immediately? That tells you that they apologize to relieve their guilt, not repair the relationship. Do they actually change the behavior, or do they just promise to change and then do the same thing next week? Pay attention. Your gut already knows the truth. Your body already knows that this apology is real or performative. Stop overriding that knowing just because you want to believe them. So I want you to share in the comments, what did their actions tell you that their apology didn't? So and a lot of times you're trying to make apologies make sense, right? Because sometimes you will never get the apology that actually addresses what they did. They'll apologize for the surface thing. I'm sorry I lied, but they won't apologize for the deeper betrayal. I'm sorry I made you question your reality and treated you like you were crazy for noticing the truth. They'll apologize for the event. I'm sorry I cheated, but they won't apologize for the pattern. I'm sorry I disrespected you repeatedly and made you feel like you had to compete for basic loyalty. And you might spend years waiting for them to truly see what they did. I have a lot of clients that have done this, waiting for them to understand, waiting for the apology that finally validates the pain. But understand you can't wait for someone who hurt you to give you permission to heal. Closure doesn't always come from them. Sometimes it comes from deciding to stop chasing someone who doesn't understand or someone who's not ever capable of giving it. Here's what this is practically. Write a letter you'll never send. You know, everything that you wish that you said to them or everything they wish that they said to you, right? Like, I'm sorry I gaslit you. I'm sorry that I blamed you for being hurt. Write it all out. And then at the end, write this. I don't need their permission to heal. I'm giving myself what they couldn't give me. That is your closure. That's your apology to yourself. So I want you to reconnect with this version of you that got lost. Here's what happens when someone hurts you and gives you a hollow apology. You start seeing yourself through the lens of what they did. You start thinking, maybe I'm too sensitive. Maybe I'm too much. Maybe I deserved it. Maybe I'm the problem. But love, you are not their mistake. You are not defined by their inability to love you, right? You were not diminished by their betrayal. And the work now, the real work, is reconnecting with a version of you who knows that. Do something today that reminds you of your own wholeness. Not for them, not to prove anything, for you. Whether that's to journal your actual thoughts, whether that's, not from what you think you should feel, but just overall just what you feel. Take a walk alone and notice what it feels like to be in your own company without performing for anyone. You can cook your favorite meal. Just because for self-care and feeding yourself with care. And if you need a guide for this work, know we have our I Miss Me journal available, because exactly what I created for those moments when betrayal makes you forget who you are. You need prompts to help you find your voice again. And you can also find this over in my Substack, The Gentle Work with Samantha S. And we also have our paid version coming home to yourself as well. We really dive deep into these things. I want you to understand that allowing healing to take the time it actually takes, right? But you have to be able to kind of take the time to work on yourself throughout. Last thing, and this is so important, like I've been saying, some wounds don't heal on schedule. You're going to feel okay one day and completely fall apart the next. Understand it's not regression, but it's not you falling or failing at healing. That's you catching up to yourself. Healing happens in layers. You'll think you're over it, and then something will remind you, and you feel it all over again. That doesn't mean you're not making progress. Every time you choose not to chase their validation, you strengthen the part of you that's learning to stand on your own. Every time you honor these feelings instead of performing forgiveness, understand you're healing. Every time you watch their actions instead of believing their words, you're choosing yourself. That's the work. And it's not linear and it's not fast, and that's okay. Tell me in the comments what's one way you're choosing yourself today after your apology wasn't enough. Because love, here's what I want you to walk away with. Knowing healing when the apology isn't enough is about honoring yourself enough to stop waiting for someone else to do the right thing. You can still heal. You can still grow. You can still love again, but this time with eyes open, with boundaries strong, with the knowledge that words without actions are just manipulation with better PR, and you deserve more than that. You always have. Here's what I need from you. Just share this episode, tag the friend who's been accepting hello apologies, post it. This one called me out, and tag me at 𝐼'sMothers.A on Instagram or Moving Beyond You, because someone in your life needs to hear this today. And if you stopped waiting for closure from the person who hurt you, what's one gentle step forward your own closure could take today? Subscribe if you haven't. Make sure to like this episode. These 10-minute truth bombs I just want to add into it so it doesn't always feel like it's a long, and just see which ones you like. But no, we have my Miss Me Journal waiting for you. We have over community in our Substack as well. I'm just so excited to be able to kind of continue to do all this work with you guys and be right alongside of this journey. If you have any questions for me, make sure to let me know. We have daily reminders at 𝐼'sMothers.A or in TikTok at Moving Beyond You. Before you go, I want you to leave you with this. The apology you're waiting for, you might never get it, but you know what you will get? Yourself back. And then you finally stop waiting for them to validate your pain and you start validating yourself. That's when everything changes. You don't need their permission to heal. You never did. Now go choose yourself, especially if their apology wasn't enough. I'll see you next week. Take care of that beautiful heart.